Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nusha Ina binti Anwar. My matric number 3078225. And today I will be presenting my analytical evolution of a social computing system. So for this assessment, I choose to analyze Discord, a platform many of us probably already use every day, but which is generally rich when you look at it through a social computing lens. Over the next 50 minutes, I walk through its design, its algorithm, and its social impact. The next, okay. Here how I structure this presentation. I start with an introduction to Discord, and then its background, its user, and why it's actually qualified as a social computing system. Then I analyze its social software and technology, including some of its AI feature. After that, I break down how it processes social information, things like tagging and recommendation. Then I evaluate its design space, both strengths and weakness, and propose two AI enhanced improvement. And finally, I close with its social impact and my overall conclusion. The next. So, what is the Discord? Discord is a real-time communication platform that combines text messaging, voice chat, and video calling inside persistent communities called servers. So it was launched back in 2015 by Jason Chitran and Stadilis Wisniewski, and it was originally built for gamers who needed a better voice chat alternative to likes Skype and TeamSpeak. So, but over the last decade, it grew way beyond gaming. Today, it's used by university classes, open source developer team, artists, fandom, and business. And the scale in honestly hug, the Discord now has reached 200 million monthly active user, and then over 600 million registered account and more than 32 million active server worldwide. What I think is really important here is things unlike TikTok or Instagram, which is built around open algorithm fit Discord entire purpose is to host bounded persistent communities that fundamentally different design philosophy. And then it was make Discord such an interesting case study for this assignment. The next. This is the user iteration, and then why it social computing. Let's talk about who actually use Discord and how. Why it start with gamer? Today, over 55% of active user identify as non-gamer. The user base skew younger, mostly 16 to 34, and you get a real mix of casual user and highly engaged power user who spend hours a day on the platform. Interaction happen through channel, some synchronized like voice and video calls, and some accessories like text messages, street and reaction, and importantly, a single user typically belong to many servers at once and just one. No, why does this actually count as a social computer system? I look at four criteria first. It is the persistent identity, a global profile plus a per-server name. The second is support many-to-many communication through channel, not just one-to-one messenger. And then the third is enable collective knowledge sharing through pen message, community wikis, and both that store international knowledge. And four, and this is a the key, it produces a continuous stream of social trace that messaging voice present all of which the system capture or process. And then the last point is really the brief into the next session of my presentation. Okay, the next is the core social software features. No, let's see into the specific social software features. For the first is user profile. User profile work on a dual identity model. You have one global identity but a different nickname per server. This actually lower the social risk of joining very different kind of community use the same account. And then the second is messaging and reaction. Function as Discord equivalent of liking and commenting, but because messages are chronological and channel based on rather than algorithm, conversation tend to be much more synchronized and tied to a specific moment, which refers small group intimacy rather than broad virality. And the last, channel and forum structure conversion by topic instead of dumping everything into one global feed. Role and permission distribute moderation responsibility across trust community member, and then not just platform staff. This is form of self-government, discovery and activity channel support low friction, spontaneous collaboration, and you can just hop into a voice room the way you walk into a shared physical space. And the next, this is the AI enhanced function. Discord has also layered in some generally introduced AI feature. The flagship one is auto mode AI. So traditional auto mode just block messages based on keyword matching. Auto mode AI goes further. It uses large language model technology to interpret the intent behind a message, which lets its catch content depend rule violation that a simple keyword filter will completely miss. Discord actually give a really good example. For this, the system need to tell the difference between someone innocently asking what's a common cause of harm to hamster, which is a totally reasonable question in a pet server, versus someone hostly saying dead to hamster. Both use similar vocabulary, but the intent is completely different. There's also a convention summary features which use AI to condemn a long unread channel into short disks. This reduces the cognitive burden of catching up of a busy server. Then together the features show that Discord AI investment is element mainly at pursuing community help for maximizing time on platform the way a lot of algorithm feed do. The next, let's look the how Discord process social information. This brings me to social information processing or SIP, which is really about how the platform turn around user behavior into organized, useful output. Okay, for the first one is user action. Let me walk through the flow. The first one is user action, message, reaction, voice join, and search. They get logged as a metadata. Timestamp, channel ID, role mention, that metadata fit into a processing engine that combine content-based filtering, collaborative signal, and contact aware ranking. Then engine try tree has a three output. The first home discovery, server recommendation, and then the second is notification and R rate, that which is mean that the thread get priority, and then the third is auto mode and safety, flagging content and detecting spam or rate, and finally all of that feed into a user feedback loop. Click, join, mute, unsubscribe, reboot, which then loop back around to refine feature personalization. This is a continuous cycle, not a one-time calculation. So the next, this is a three key SIP mechanism. So for the first one is the content-based filtering that show up is server recovery. If you join server gaming or art server, the system suggests more server which similars declare category. Then for the second, hybrid and collaborative signal work at a console level. Discord increasing use aggregate engagement pattern across similar user to decide which unread content to prioritize, blending it with the context-based signal I just mentioned. So the third, the contact aware processing show up in things like auto mode AI and notification ranking, which are based on real time contact like whether you're currently active in a voice channel or whether a mention is a direct reply versus a passive channel message. Together, these three mechanisms are what let this code personalize the experience without relying on one single ring global feed. The next one, this is a design stretch. No, let's move into evaluating the design space, starting with the string. The first one is granular permission. The role system lets single server safely host beginner and expert, public discussion and private staff coordination all side by side. And then the second, persistent history. The unlike ephemeral platform, Discord keep searchable record which support insensory participation across time zone, really important for global distribute communities like open source team. Then the lastly is low friction voice. You can join a voice channel instantly without scheduling anything, which is support the kind of spontaneous informal collaboration that's hard to replicate on purely tech-based platform. The next, this is the weakness, and then also the real weakness for the first is information overload because channels are chronological and are ranked, an active server can produce far more message than anyone can realizable rate. The second one is echo chamber because discovery requirement server is similar to one you already joined, and because communities are in by nature, members gradually get exposed to different viewpoint. And then the third is moderation gap. That sin moderation is delegate mostly to volunteer moderator rather than centralized staff. Quality varies a lot between server and some under moderated harmful content. And then the fourth, unequal participation. Roughly 90% of server have fewer than 15 members, while the largest server have a million. A small minority of member typically generate most of the message, and a lot of valuable knowledge from creator members just never surface. The next, this is the proposed improvement. So the first I calling it a personalized cross channel decays which diversity control. So the idea is an AI generate decays that summarize and rate activity across every channel you have access to rank using a hybrid of content, relevant and social relevance. But here's the key safeguard. It will include a clearly labeled worth a look session that deliberately surface a small number of message and channel you rarely visit directly considering the echo chamber problem I just described. And then this target two of the weakness from the previous slide that I told, information overload because it reduces the need to manual scroll through everything, and filter bubble risk because it deliberately injects same out content. Okay, the next, this is the proposed improvement two. My second proposal is try an AI moderator co-pilot for small and volunteer run server. This will extend automate AI with treating plain language rule drafting help for new server owner, contextually escalation suggestion, helping decide between a warning, a timeout, or ban based on the member's history, and quick Apple summarize for the moderator to view disputed cases faster. Who does this help? Especially small and mid-sized server that don't have an experienced dedicated moderation team. This directly target the moderation quality gap, identify yearly while still proving Discord decentralized. Community-led governance model is not about taking control away from communities. It's about giving smaller ones better tools. This is the social impact, positive and negative. For the first one is privacy. On the positive side, server bounds content is not publicly indexed by search engine by default, which give more contextual privacy than fully open platform. On the negative side, screenshot can be extracted and distributed outside their original context, and third party both introduce additional less transparent data handling relationship. Algorithm The second algorithm Fias, because discovery ranking leans heavily on popularity and engagement history. Smaller or niche community can get systematically underexposed even with their content quality is just as good. And the lastly is community formation. This is one of Discord's clearest positive impact. It provides low-cost infrastructure for niche communities to form and sustain themselves, from small hobby group to massive creative community, in a way that genuinely hard to replicate to open algorithm ring platform. And then the lastly, conclusion and reflection. So, Discord show that social computing does not require an algorithm broadcast feed bounded presenting self-governing communities can be equally powerful, supported by content-based, collaborative, and increasingly contact-aware process. And then the first strong have the strong community cohesion and trust as overload, cucumber then uneven moderation. The second, AI in haste design, the gaze plus numerator copilot can address weakness without embodying decentralized governance. And the last, as platform scale, informal norm-strain thoughtful technical design became attention to healthy collective behavior. So, more broadly, I think this could reveal something important about technology society as platform scale. The informal norm, the work of four small community and placed under real strain and thoughtful design became a initial of sustaining healthy collective behavior. That's all. Thank you.